Well, howdy, friends and neighbors. Hope you guys are doing well. It's Monday night, and we're going to have some fun. We got plenty of questions to answer around here. And in fact, I have Dan with me, so you're going to get both of us tonight. As we bring in Dan, how are you, bud?
I'm doing good. I think we finally found a groove here with the little one.
Oh, nice.
I feel much better today than I did yesterday, so there's that.
You sound peppier, I got to tell you.
I'm telling you, getting into that groove is definitely a game-changing. And I do apologize if you guys can hear her on the this cast here. She's banging away at the crib, so if that comes through, I do apologize.
She's going to be fine. No big deal. Folks, we have some great stuff coming for you tonight. Dan's actually available tonight, so that's cool. We actually have already pre-recorded something you guys are going to see tomorrow night as we go through a number of other things. I'm going to have some reaction for you this week, and we'll do probably something rumorish or filmish or whenever Dan gets something later in the week as well. Okay. He is intent. A couple of announcements. We'll get started here. We're going to go over the Okafor thing. We're going to get into, oh, my Lord, there's super chats already. You guys are on fire. All right, we're going to get into that. Super chats are great. They are open, folks. If you want to help the channel out, please feel free. We appreciate it very much. But as Ian and Dylan have already done, make sure you ask a question so we can answer it tonight for you. We have memberships coming. We have a couple of cool ideas. Not only are you going to get the plaques, the things that put you out from the group in these chats and everywhere else on the channel, you're going to get some special emojis. And as the tiers climb, we're going to keep it pretty reasonable to begin with. But if you want to get either behind the scenes videos, if you want to get in private member only chat calls, Zoom kind of things, we're going to do those for the members. And every now and then, if you're one of the highest tier, you're going to get to do a one-on-one with one of us. So that's going to be fun. We will share that with the membership. Those are coming soon. I just got to finish the graphics. We're getting close there. Couple of other little notes. A lot changing right now as we go through with the new contract and that kind of stuff. I can't say it's going to drive me to drink, but if you have any interest in craft beer, please check out the other channel. Mike and I just did a huge review on some cool beers that is going to go up tomorrow night. So even if you're not a huge craft beer fan, check out the other channel. I would appreciate it very much. Tonight's beer it's a little bit of a hazy, but it's a Kolsch, and so that's okay. That's expected, and it is from Oakshire. Let me get that light right. And you got to get it in the right area or else it won't focus.
Exactly.
That's the way cameras work, but I hope you guys are doing fun. It doesn't look like Dan's drinking, so I'll handle it for both of us.
Later.
A lot of familiar faces in here. Tons of questions. Gary, Ian, Brennan, see a ton of you. I haven't seen Aaron yet, but I'm sure he will be here. Mr. Stevie Keys. Oh, Jeff's here. Okay, we're going to get to all of you. I just want to start real quick. I'm going to share my other screen here, if I can close this, because we're going to take a look at the numbers. And the numbers are important because they do make a difference for what Alex is going to go with going forward, how he's going to help. And what this is going to show you is this is the contract for Alex Okafor before it was announced today. Now, what we saw over the weekend is we kind of got a jump. Last week, we thought they were about $11 million in cap space. We saw on Sunday morning, I think it was, or Saturday evening, it was announced they're at 13. This is the $2 million change. Yeah. So what happened is he went from a base salary here where he's at 4.7. He's got a $2 million bonus, so 7.2 against the cap. Next year, he was going to be 8 against the cap. That changes to what we have now, thanks to Jason from OTC and Spot Track over the cap. They're both great. They both update in different areas they get from different sources, so it's nice to cross-reference them. So anytime you want contract information, check those two sites out. But this, what Jason has, shows us what to expect now. And this is what sets it up here. $2 million base salary. They got some guarantees. So he has a guarantee there, and that's important for a player. That salary is now done. His bonus was already done. So he's, in effect, got that whole $4 million bonus, total as guaranteed. That's important to a player. That's the only reason that you might do a trade-off, that and to stay with the team. But what it also did is $2 million in cap dead money that's going to be from this bonus and zero salary. So you might have a guess. I got a lot of questions on Twitter that I didn't have a chance to answer until now. But this tells me that the Chiefs are to the point where They felt they needed to get something done number-wise to have a little extra space, and they went to Alex and said, listen, we're looking at possibly having to release you now or then. We'll give you a little more guaranteed if we can knock over that base salary for next year so that we can get out of this contract. He's going to be 30 next year. So this does look to me like it's going to be the last year of Alex Okafor in Kansas City. Dan, do you see anything different?
No, it was one of the reasons why I thought it was kind of a hot take probably a month ago about him getting cut. He's getting older, and they got to start creating cap space, especially with everything that's gone on. So that was one of the things that I thought would have eventually come down. It looks like they talked to him about it, and they needed to get out from under this contract. It wasn't a great, contract to begin with. He's an aging guy, so it makes sense. And going to next year, not having him on the books will definitely help.
And he's a player that I like. Again, he's a well-rounded guy, not a specialist in the pass rush or specialist in coverage. And I do think that they want to see him as generally somebody that can lead the group. Again, I think I said it last week on the podcast. And folks, if you're not sub here, hit the sub and the like and the bell notification so you know when everything happens around here. And sometimes on your phone, you got to actually click it down and hit all notifications so that you see them. But along with that, you can find me over on the Locked On Chiefs podcast. And we went over that the other day. And what I said then was that Alex can be a first down player for you because Spags does like to drop guys out from time to time. And Alex Okafor is probably, of the defensive ends, the best one in playing backwards, in dropping into a zone. It gives him that kind of unexpectedness. And so I can still see him playing on first down.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay. But after that, I think it's going to become one of the designated pass rushers. I think it's going to be Taco Charlton. I'm not sure what you think, Dan.
That's what I thought too. I personally think he's got the ability to be the starter next to, on the opposite of Frank Clark. But I do agree with the versatility aspect of being able to drop someone into coverage every once in a while. And Okafor definitely brings that along with the experience and playing as long as he has. So, yeah, that's definitely something I agree with.
Okay, let me maximize my window here because I'm playing with the buttons and the buttons aren't working the way that I expected.
Buttons are fun. That's all good. Okay,
there we are. Now we're even. All right. For some reason, I can't make you the primary and put me in the small window, but nobody puts baby.
There's a reason for that.
Okay. Well, hey, it is.
You are in charge.
All right, fine. I hate that. All right. Let's get into the questions, folks. You guys have been patient. I appreciate that. Again, if you're new to the channel, if you hit the super chat and you want to help out the channel, feel free, but ask a question and we will get to it here tonight. We're going to start. Oh, and the other thing, if you aren't a regular around here, if you put a couple question marks before your question, it helps me dig them out of the chat, and that always makes things go smoother. First one's up. Robert Lane. Do you think that the extra cap money that they should try to sign Ward to a long-term contract? Go ahead.
Well, I think that you need to see another year out of Ward before you give him that contract. Last year was his first full year starting, and you don't know what's going to happen. He's a volatile player because he's an undrafted free agent, so you don't really know what his abilities are going to be as a long-term player. You got that year where the safeties help around him really made him look better than I think that he was fully in terms of following a receiver around and being a number one lockdown corner. So you don't want to sign necessarily a number two corner to a long-term deal that's going to pay him probably around $8 to $10 million if you only have 1 year of starting experience. He's still young, so he's got time. You don't necessarily have to go through that right now.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. And that's honestly what I was going to say too. Like, he's made progression. You want to make sure that he keeps progressing.
Exactly.
So I would keep that carrot out in front of him. And honestly, he's going to be fine. I think that eventually they will sign him and they want to sign him. I just don't think that's what this move is in particular.
Yeah, I agree.
It could be somebody else in the secondary. I don't think it's Jadeveon Clowney. I'm going to tell you guys that now. I'm sure I haven't even looked at the questions yet, you guys, but I'm sure there's Clowney in there. Yeah, it's not Clowney. If it was going to be Clowney, they would have cut Alex Okafor and been done with it.
Completely, yeah.
So that's the big thing. And quite frankly, I'm not a big Clowney fan. I find him inconsistent in the pass rush, and quite frankly, that's what that position is there to do. Yes, he's great against the run. I give him full credit for that. It's the opposite of D Ford. But
yes,
I need a pass rusher opposite Frank and Chris. So that's the point of having him. But that's here and there. Ian, again, thank you for the super chat and the support for the channel. I appreciate that. Until the memberships, this is the main way that we get support from you guys, other than just watching and spreading the word for other people to watch the videos. So thank you. I love that you love the show. That's awesome. Thoughts on how the opt-outs have changed for the starting O-line and who will they look like, and the possibility of us lacking depth. I will say this. LDT hurt their plan. They like LDT. Maybe everybody else is a little down on him. I like him a little bit too. And honestly, I felt like first year back from the knee was one thing. I thought he'd be even better this year. But the COVID thing, I respect him for what he's doing. That threw a monkey wrench into their plan. And so by getting Osemele, I think that was especially because they feel he's healthy. In fact, he said last week that he's his shoulder's fine. He's benching 375 or 5. Like, he's doing fine. So that tells you that the labrum's there. Everything's fine. He can be able to do it. And so that tells me that they're okay putting him on the left. He belongs on the left. He's always played on the left. That's where he's going to stay. So what you had before was a starting right guard and a big question mark over here at left. Sorry, I should switch those. Yeah. But now you have a starting left guard in Osemele, and you have a question at the right. So I think everything else will pretty much be the same. I think Daryl can compete at center with Ryder. I don't see that necessarily happening until I see something else on film. But what's your thought on the right guard spot?
I think it's going to be good. We saw Wiley come in 2018 for an injured LDT and actually play much better than we all expected to out of Wiley. He played actually really solidly down the stretch there for those 8 games, I think it was, that he played in. And that's what I would think going forward, is because Wiley's got experience there. Now he's in his 3rd year in the system. He's going to have that upper hand on just about anybody else going on for the right guard spot. So I think it's going to be an open competition, but at the end of the day, Wiley has 8 games under his belt there, obviously starting last year at left guard. So he's got the time in, and so that's going to give him the edge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Remmers really ought to be a swing tackle now that Nianga's not going to be there. And Ian makes a solid point. It's about depth at that point, but Remmers is a guy who can play anything but center. I feel like Darrell Williams is a guy that should back up interior. He can play guard as well as center. And then you have Wiley as a starter. So there's 7. I mean, I'm feeling decent about it. Who's going to be that 8th? Who's going to be the 9th? I think they're going to have to keep at least 9. They might even go 10. So there's room for competition there now with 2 guys that are out, but I think it's going to be all right. We're just going to have to see how it develops.
Don't forget about Allegretti.
Right? Your guy, Allegretti. Your guy. Allegretti, the Illini for the Michigan fan. Okay, I'll have to remember that.
Okay.
Dylan, you're next. Thank you again, Mr. Kruckman. As always, you're one of the stalwarts around here. We appreciate it. Helps us do what we do. What free agent would you like to see the team with the newfound cap space?
So, Matt Lane on Twitter brought up a pretty good point. Aqib Talib could be an interesting option as a free agent. I know that I don't know about his health. I'm sorry?
Brock Chalk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about his health right now, but I think that he was going to play for the Dolphins last year had they had anything to play for, but he ended up not, so they cut him. I think that's how that went down. I don't know for a fact, but I think that you bring a corner in like Talib, who really could step in and play similarly to what Rashad Breeland offers at the cornerback spot, and you can get by for those first 4, however many weeks that he's gone, and then you still have depth when he comes back. So I think a corner, him or Logan Ryan, probably make the most sense to bring in for the secondary, considering you're going to have, Breeland gone for the first 4 games that we think.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, as far as Talib, I'm always one to support a Jayhawk in the league, that you don't get him that often. I've never been a fan of Talib, though. I will say that first and foremost. And secondly, I'm not too worried about his health. I just wonder if his bifocals are working, because the man is old for this league. Okay, he's not as old as me.
4 games.
Old.
4 games. Bring out the goggles for 4 games. I don't care about anything else.
All right, he's looking like Horace Grant in there. Okay, that's fine. But that's my only concern. I mean, he has a knack for the ball. Obviously, he's got a lot of edge. I wouldn't like it locker room wise, because you're going to be competing for voices with Tyron, and I don't want to see that happen. So
I get that.
It is what it is. But I could see Logan Ryan if it's like a $4 or $5 million contract.
Yeah,
that's about it. And he even said today he feels he's more of a safety at this point in his career, and that makes sense to me. I just don't know if the Chiefs really dig the way that he plays to begin with. So we'll have to find out.
Yeah.
Casey, what do you got? How worried are you about our chances to repeat with the lack of O-line depth? One injury and we're pretty vulnerable. That's fair. A lot of teams are having opt-outs, though, and some of them are going to be on the defensive line. Some of them are just the fact that younger teams like the Ravens are, going to struggle with install, with things like that. They're returning some starters, but not anything like the Chiefs are. I think there's still a significant, even if they lose another lineman, advantage for the Chiefs in having all those players back. That's what it really comes down to for me.
Yeah, and the chemistry with the offensive lines there, they all played last year, except for Yosemite, and he's been around a while, and he was in the AFC West, so they're going to have some familiarity with that. So I'm not.
And that always helps.
Yeah,
it always helps. Mr. Porter, how are you? Folks, if you don't know Jeff, he helps out with Rogue Analytics and is the man that I rely on for that kind of stuff. How are you, bud? What are the chances they play all 16 games? Oh, all 16 games are played in week 1. Okay. Are you optimistic? I am, actually, because I kind of feel like there are some little things that are happening, but I feel like everything's on track right now. I think when teams start hitting each other and you start to spread things maybe a little bit that way, or as the season goes on, I'm more concerned about having them miss in the middle than at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as they start getting into games, traveling here and there, that's when you're going to start seeing more outbreaks and risks. So the week 1 isn't really that much of an issue for me either.
Okay. Mr. Holland, how are you? Nice to see you. And there is Testicular Tactics. I was waiting for you. Is the next evolution of football to have 7 defensive backs who are good at running downhill and tackling running backs, getting rid of linebackers? Eschewing. I like that, if I said that right. I don't think so. Just my personal opinion. It's a pendulum more than one thing all the time. Like, yes, it's a passing league. There are teams this year that are going to have to run more because they're not that good at passing. There are teams that are going to see the fact that you're playing against dime all the time, that they have an advantage in running big and trying to power up on you. So I think it's over here now. I think it's going to swing back a little bit. Linebackers are always going to be important. I think what you are going to see is what you see in Kansas City, in that the linebackers are going from Reggie Ragland, who is a classic downhill linebacker, to what Willie Gay and the next linebacker and the next linebacker are going to be guys that play backwards. And sometimes you ask them to go attack.
Exactly. And the linebacker position is just going to be in flux for the next five years or so as athletes catch up. Athletes are now being projected to play quarterback instead of everywhere else, and now they're trying to figure out how to get athletes to play linebacker, which is the next generation of defense. You get guys that are big enough to play safety, that have that athleticism, but are bigger enough to come downhill and play linebacker. That's what we're going to see in the next 5 or 6 years getting into the NFL. So that's, these Willie Gay types are just super athletic. They're big, they're fast, they're strong. That's what they're going to see at linebacker. I think that's definitely the next transition going forward.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing, 4 Ronnie Lotts and 3 Dave Dewersons out there, but it's not that kind of league at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hold on to that.
Until it's 7-7.
Right. Phoenix, how are you, Mr. T1? What do you think about Louis Riddick said about Clyde? He seems to be in good with the Chiefs. He is. He used to work for Andy. He knows this organization very well. He knows Brett Veach very well. I don't know if it's inside information that he's actually had conversations, or he just recognizes what they recognize due to having that experience. So I'm with him. Whatever Louis Riddick says about this team, you take to the bank.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how it goes. You can, ever since, Patrick Mahomes, he was like, just write it down, and he took off. So that's just how it's going to be. And I think it's a little bit of both, a little bit of inside info, a little bit of just trusting that they know what they're doing. And it's going to, I've been high on him ever since they drafted him, since before then, really. So I'm pretty set with that.
I just think it's cool that Patrick listens to him too, because Lewis started calling him Ferrari a couple years ago, and now Pat went out and bought one. Hey, good for him. Pat, if you have extra cash laying around, I'll take one too. That's fine.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
Hot and spicy. How much cap do we have? 13.23 right now, as of the NFLPA's report today. So that's all I got. Tactics. If you use mustard or vinegar on your barbecue, you'd better just stay in Colorado or just go to Memphis.
Whoa.
With a sour flavor. Oh, not Memphis, huh? Well, I am from Kansas, so there's nothing wrong with driving through Kansas. And I am not much of a sauce guy.
Really?
I might put a little bit on, but I'm there for the bark, man. Like,
Okay.
I want the chew out of it.
You're a crust guy. See, it really depends on the mood for me, but I'm definitely a sauce. I like sauce just about anything. And I eat all different kinds of barbecue sauces. I eat, honey barbecue. I do mustard. I do vinegar. I make my own with vinegar, apple cider vinegar. Just, it doesn't matter. I love all barbecue.
That's awesome. I actually, when I smoke at home, it's just a dry rub. I might baste a little bit, but it's not like a full-on sauce. I just serve sauces with it.
Yeah, that's what I did this the weekend before my wife deployed. I made a pork butt and I just did it dry rub and then just had 3 barbecue sauces for us to just dip in. It was
there. You go. And I've even learned the trick. I don't know if she's watching tonight, but I even got my wife. She does the chicken wings and the ribs now. She does all the smoking unless it's like something major. So I just sit here and make videos. Thanks, babe. Hot and spicy. I'm seeing that Clowney to KC is gaining momentum. Only with fans, bro. Yep. Not with anybody else. Literally. If he were a guy that got what? If he got 10, if he broke 10 sacks last year, I could say maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But what did he get? 3?
4 maybe at the moment. I don't remember. I just know that he has wanted way more than he's worth because he's not productive as a pass rusher. And
quite frankly, he wants more money this year than the Chiefs have salary cap space.
Probably calorie space too.
Now I'm hungry, Tactics. Dang it. After Sammy's press conference, do you feel it's possible that he returns to KC after this year at a below market value? I won't put anything past him, Claude. I could certainly see it happening. And I like the way that he sounded about the fact that he's just tossing money out the way. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I think that comes back to something we talked about a couple of months ago, that Sammy's reached the best Sammy that he's been in the league, at least in Kansas City. So if I were him and I have the best quarterback in the league, and I've got the training staff that helped me stay the healthiest I've ever stayed in the league, why would I even consider going somewhere unless I was totally broke? And he's not. Exactly. So I definitely won't say no. I think somebody might try to throw a lot of money at him. If he's got 2 rings, maybe that changes it. I don't know, man.
It's really I think that depends on this season, what he does. If he has another season like we saw last year and the year before, which is over 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, I don't think he's going to garner that much money on the open market unless he continues to ball out in the playoffs. That's going to draw people because, especially playoff teams, that's going to say, look, we get you don't necessarily have to produce in the regular season, but when you play at your best is in the postseason, and that's when we want you. So I could see that maybe.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know, man.
I just want him staying in Kansas City as long as he can.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, keep the band together.
I want them to.
Tactics. Does Tyreek have some Jerry Rice afterburners? His 40 times aren't the best in the NFL. Actually, they're almost the best. I mean, honestly, Chris Johnson's not in the league anymore, right? I have from a scout that was at his pro day 4.28 on his watch.
Yeah.
That's the best time that I've seen. In fact, Jerry used his long strides. I don't know that he was as good out of the 10 split, to tell you the truth.
I don't think so. He was more after.
I'd have to go back and check all that stuff, but no, Tactics. I think Tyreek's the real deal, especially when you put that McCole. What you saw the other day on social media, McCole ran a 4.36. I want to say it was
3.3. I think
was it 3.3.
I think so. And
that close. I mean, it could be faster. Tyreek could have gotten faster since his pro day. Is my point. I don't know what it is, but
he looks like he did. I tell you what.
I know, right? It's deceptive sometimes.
He's a mutant. That's what he is.
Well, there's that. Oregon Chief Chris, how are you, bud? Who can they restructure to keep next year's cap down at the 175 mark? Well, there's a number of options. There's room in Frank's contract. There's room in Tyron's contract. There's actually room in Chris's contract. Yeah. Even Mahomes goes up to what his franchise tag number was going to be. So technically you could try that. I think it's because it's bonus. It's going to be hard. So I wouldn't go down the Mahomes road. Fisher, Schwartz. I think you try to extend Kelsey and that knocks the number down. So it's not a restructure, but in effect, you can gain some cap space that way. So that's what I would be looking for, Chris. Let's see. Clinton, how are you? With Okafor's restructure, who is the most likely starter on the other side of Clark? Well, they restructured him to keep him, so I still think it's him. But again, not in this designated pass rush type usage. I think that'll be Taco. Like, it could be a number of guys, and who knows? They could just rotate, right?
That's exactly what they're probably going to do. And this season, it makes the most sense with everyone not being in game shape right away. Injuries are going to happen. You want to keep everyone as fresh as possible. They've got probably 4 guys behind Okafor that they can just throw in at any point, anywhere on the defensive line to keep everyone as healthy as possible. I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I agree. How long before Patrick is suiting up for the Chiefs and the Royals? I think a long time. But seriously, would the NFL, Major League Baseball, and any major sports league allow a Deion Sanders? Yes. I think the leagues aren't going to say no. The franchises are. I know there's a clause in Mahomes' contract about playing pickup basketball, about playing anything that puts him at risk. But it's not the leagues they're going to say no. And the leagues love it because it's cross-pollination. You pick up sports fans from both places. It's great PR. It's not the best for the athletes. It's not the best for the teams. So I don't know. Let Deion and Bo be them and let Patrick be Patrick.
Yeah, I was shaking my head just because of what you said. Initially, I went to the NFL. No, it's just going to be the Chiefs. You're going to be like, no, you're not going to do this.
Yeah, it's going to be. Ooh. But I will say this. The average baseball career is a good 6, 7, 8 years longer than an NFL career. Could you see him pitching after he's done in the NFL?
No, he's going to play till he's 50. So,
oh, is that what it is? Okay. No, I mean, and folks, this isn't a controlling interest. He didn't take over the team or anything like that. He is one of what I understand are quite a number of co-owners that have shares. I understand that his dad got a chunk as well. So I think that's great. I think what it does is it ties him to the city for the long term. And I think that's the bigger picture.
A great PR move.
Yeah, right. And I mean, and quite frankly, why wouldn't you? You've made your home here. You're going to make this franchise the number one thing in the NFL for quite a long time. It's going to be impressive. And that's not to say that they're going to win every Super Bowl from here until he retires, folks. I'm just saying, with him in the building, you always have a shot. And that's what it's going to do for this particular franchise. Oh, wait, did I skipped over that? I didn't actually answer that, or did I? Yeah, I did. We got the whole thing. Wrong click. What role do you see Snead having right now, Lucas? Sorry, I said Luke. Snead's my guy, so I'm a little biased. But if Juan's not back, I could see him playing some free. I could see him playing, especially if they play split. And there might be a reason with new guys on the defense to play a little too high, especially to begin the season. Him and Armani back there, and still let Tyron be Tyron. But he could just be a reserve that comes in when they know about Breland. And Dan, where do you think Fenton's going to go?
I think they kind of have to put him outside, right? At this point, if they don't have another guy that comes in and plays at the outside, he's the next guy with the tools to play on the outside that has experience in the system. He was here last year. He played on the outside, on the inside, and he's just that's what I have to go with right now. And Snead could definitely be. He is a chess piece. They can put him anywhere, and he can probably get most of the job done that he's being asked. So that's what I like to see him. He's going to play all over the field.
Yeah, I mean, at a rookie level,
exactly.
I'm not trying to pump him up like he's all world, folks.
This isn't Matthew out there.
well, and that's the thing is you have Tyron and you have him, and so Snead's history: played corner for 3 years, produced the bulk of his turnovers and PBUs as a corner. Then the team needed him to play safety last year, so he went and did that. He still made a couple of plays, but it wasn't quite as dramatic. He's got 4.38 speed, and he can play both roles. At that point, if Fenton's outside, you can roll between Matthew and Snead and whoever drops down. And man, when Juan gets back on the field, it's a nice makeup. He's going to have bumps in the road because he's rookie, but he's got a lot of upside and fit.
Is there.
Absolutely. I'm going to start with you, man.
Okay, so I am 28 years old. I started watching in the early 2000s. All I know is Dick Vermeil. I'm sorry.
Marty. All day, every day.
I also
wait.
offense.
Marty and Gunther. Sorry.
Okay, I was about to say you got to specify, right? Because you need that defense.
If you're not going to have Buddy Ryan, it better be Gunther Cunningham. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. And Rex, I still miss you. You could come. You can come coach the linebackers, right? Just saying. Just you're not a head coach, bro.
Just have DJ coach him up.
Right. Neighbor girl, how are you? I see you a lot. I have not seen you ask a question before, so welcome. If you could interview them, what would you ask Mahomes and Reed? First, I would have to go Reed first because that's just the way that I function. And I would want to say, what's the thing that drives you in competing with all the guys that you've either coached with, like John Gruden, or had coach for you, like John Harbaugh? Like, what drives that competition? And are you nicer to them? Are you like, do you know that they know you? And so you come up with little tweaks? Like, what's his mentality? And Patrick, I would probably just, it would be non-football questions for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I would ask Andy how it felt seeing Peterson win a Super Bowl before him. That's something I've always kind of wondered. You know, Peterson got that Super Bowl, and then Andy's like, wait, I've been coaching way longer than you. You quarterbacks for me. So that would be an interesting question. And, you know, I want to know how Mahomes functioned without reading defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Like what he's so successful. And I get that a lot of it probably has to do with Andy and him scheming things a certain way, but you still have to function looking at a defense. So I want to know how he was able to do that in his second year as a starter. That's me.
Well, and honestly, where he has to go from that too. Those are great questions, girl. Thank you. I just want to say this too before we go to the next question, folks. For those of you, there's 300 of you here nearly tonight, and I appreciate that. And I know it's hard to watch this show because of this going on with my camera. If you didn't see me on social media, on Twitter in particular, the company is back working again. There are things afoot. I might have decent internet here before the season is over for sure, but I'm hoping I'd love it before it starts. But
big.
We don't have a timeline. They won't give me a date, but this will be improving. You will see more. When that happens, we're going to be able to change up what we do by quite a bit. So stay tuned. Nice. I appreciate you guys firing through all this. I know it doesn't look the greatest. Looks pretty piss poor half the time, but it is what it is, and it will improve. That said, Claude has a question. Noddy played a significant role in the defense, shifting from bad to good throughout the season. I know cap questions are overdone, but do you believe Casey can afford to keep him? Go ahead.
Yes, they do. And especially as it is right now, he's not a 3-down player. You can keep 2-down players in the NFL relatively cheaply. He goes really unnoticed for a lot of fans for the most part, but his defense and his run defense does not go unnoticed by NFL offenses and this defensive staff. But unless he becomes a 3-down player at that one tech area, then he's not going to garner a huge contract. So you can definitely afford to keep him.
Yeah, he is the younger version of Mike Pennell.
Yeah.
Better against the run than against the pass, and that allows you to remain cheaper. And, you know, it's all relative. We're all talking about salaries that are 10 times what any of us make, but it's still the fact that he'll fit in the cap. Derek Noddy, I expect to be re-signed rather easily. I expect him to be here quite a long time as well. Let's see. Big Test, how are you? Glad you made it. She Coleman, glad you made it. There's Gary. He's got a question. Will Pringle step up his game this year? I know you want to answer this one.
Well, if you guys didn't get to see my interview with Byron Pringle, that is up on the RGR channel, so you can find that there. That was the coolest thing that I've ever done. And Pringle he's one of those guys that just puts his head down and does work. And he's just he's like a younger Sammy Watkins in the sense that his best route is that slant route, and he runs his routes well. He's fast, he's physical, he blocks. They're very similar players. So unfortunately, you've got guys in front of him like Sammy, like Hill, like Hardman. I think he's a much better player than Robinson, and if he gets time on the field due to injuries and stuff, he definitely needs to be looked at more because he's a guy that can play like Sammy Watkins in the sense of his route running and his speed can attribute to this offense way more than I think people think.
I agree, and I love the slant. I want to see him more in the red zone between him and Sammy. So I want to point this one out because it's not a question, but Alan DeJong, cheers to you.
Awesome.
Down in Australia. I got friends down in Melbourne. I enjoy the accent. I'm always trying to figure out what y'all are saying. And you guys make some great beer down there too. So cheers. Glad you're with us. I don't know what time it is there, but tell your pals.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kansas Carolina. Will there be a break between training camp and the start of practice? No. They are so far behind, they don't have time. In fact, Andy usually gives them the first weekend of camp as kind of a downtime. They get 2 days off in a row fairly often. They only had Sunday off this week because they got stuff to do. They are they're way behind.
Implement that offense.
Yeah. There's so much to it. And I mean, and even Clicchio Assembly said the other day, he's like, I just got to learn all the nuance. And that's the big thing. For a guy who's been in the league 8 years, there's a lot to learn. So, yeah, you're not going to see a lot of downtime. You're not going to hear about days off. They're not going to be doing the movie and hamburger night thing, I don't think. They got stuff to do.
It sucks.
Chris Anderson, with all the newfound money, do the Chiefs sign somebody like Logan Ryan or Clowney? We talked about that a little bit earlier, Chris. You might not have been here. I'm not sure that either of them gets done. If it is, it's only Ryan. I don't think Clowney is in the future here. Neither does Dan, and I'll just talk for you, Dan. Sorry. Why do people want to get Logan Ryan? He gave up 1,000 yards. It's a very good point. That's why I don't know that the Chiefs really dig him or think that he can help. But they are low at the corner spot. So if you don't see the young guys, I haven't heard anything about Bo Keys coming back to practice off the NFI. I haven't heard anything about Lavert Hill yet. If neither of those guys work out, you're talking about maybe needing help at the fifth, maybe fourth spot. In which case, maybe that makes sense.
And plus, I don't feel that you're asking him to do nearly as much as he's been asked to do in his career. He doesn't have to play one-on-one with anybody. He can play within the system and roll in those 3 safety sets if that's what they want him to do. It's a limited role you're bringing him in for, and that's why, like Ryan said, if we're talking about $4 or $5 million a year for that 1 year contract, it would work for what they're trying to get done in this first 4 weeks that they'll be without possibly Breland and Thornhill. So it's just more of a bringing a vet guy in that doesn't need as much time to get settled into the NFL.
Yeah. Casey, how are you? Is it going to be a 3-headed monster at running back, or is Clyde going to be the workhorse sooner than later? I think it's going to be Darryl to start. I don't think you have to put that pressure on Clyde. I think he's going to split carries. I know you don't agree with me. Let me get my thought out.
Go for it.
We know Darryl's ready to pass block. We know Darryl's got the offense down. Those are just time things. If Clyde doesn't start out the gate, that only means that he's got a little bit more learning to do to get comfortable. He could. I think they probably go with the vet just for a couple of games. But by midseason, I think it's probably more Clyde in terms of touches than it is anybody else. And by the end of the season, by come playoffs, I mean, he's your primary back. There's no question in my mind.
I've seen way too much talk about DeAndre Washington being either the starter or the immediate backup, which I think is a bit too rich for his talent level. I get he played with Patrick in college, but Darrell Williams has been in the system. This is his 3rd year now. And he, like I said, we've talked about him on before. He was productive when he started. He played last year. He got hurt, and that just took him out. So I don't really like the just bringing in a guy off, from the Raiders, and then you're going to have him be the backup or the starter. That doesn't make sense to me. But Clyde's going to go ahead and just be the workhorse very soon. That's just how it is. He's the most talented back in the backfield, and they drafted him in the first round for a reason. And without Damian, it just makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. Still an all-Tiger backfield in the first couple of weeks, I think.
Yep.
Rashid, good question. Clyde had a 1.53 10-yard split, which is not super elite, folks. That's what he's getting at. What do you think is more important in this offense for an RB, long speed or acceleration? I still think it's acceleration, but I'll tell you there's one thing that's even more so than that. It's the ability to change direction, and that's what Clyde does very well. This 10-yard split is actually identical to Kareem Hunt's, and Clyde had a slightly better long speed. So you can put those equations into what you remember from seeing Kareem Hunt, and I swear, by midseason, nobody's going to ask me about Hunt again, and I'm ready for that.
Yeah, they won't. And I talked about this last week when I did my review of Clyde for the RGR channel. You're looking at a guy who's going to hit the holes just as hard as Kareem Hunt did. He's going to be more elusive out of the backfield, not have to break tackles. That's really what the difference between Kareem Hunt and Clyde is. Kareem broke tackles in the backfield. he was always getting hit in the backfield. He broke him, and then he went for Clyde is going to make guys miss, and he's going to manipulate the second level. That's the difference we're seeing with these two guys. The agility that Clyde has is at an elite level. This is, and even in the NFL, he's an elite athlete, and Kareem is just really more of a run you over guy who's just going to do everything he can with his legs and bull you over. So the speed isn't obviously a problem. Kareem broke multiple long touchdown runs in his first year in the NFL. He did it in the second year too. So I'm not too worried about it.
And the thing that they have in common is that they're both actually catch over their shoulder pretty well, better than Damian Williams does. So they're more apt to hit those out of the slot, out of those swing arrow routes between the hashes. Yeah. Both those guys are more natural at catching there than Damian is, and that's what give them the edge. Nathan Altick, we talked about this a little bit, but I'll give you an update. I do think that Remmer becomes the swing, in my opinion. They say they're going to give him some reps at guard, but I think he does stay out at tackle. Deldrick, what do you think of Breland Speaks, I think you mean, will have this year? Also, Noddy and Saunders. Speaks is a total question mark. I think we're going to talk about that in the show you'll see tomorrow. We don't know. I think Noddy's going to be Noddy. I'd like to see him get a little bit more explosive, but I saw him come in looking exactly the same, so I'm fine with him just eating blocks and crushing dudes. Right? It's Colin Saunders that I really want to see step up because he had an explosive first step for a D tackle in college. It was at a lower level of competition. He needed last year to adjust, and I think he did. I think he learned to anchor better. He was better against the run. Now he's got to get that explosive back and really start to make a difference in the pass rush. I think he can.
Yeah, that's the thing. He needed to figure out how to stop the run at the NFL level. And I was so shocked to see him actually do it in the matter of half of a full season. He came in and he figured it out. You know, Brandon Daly did a great job with him, getting him to understand leverage points and using his body to his advantage. And now we're just, like I said, you got to see that mesh back because I think he can still be an effective pass rusher. He has all the moves and the athletic ability, the burst to do it. So now he's just got to find that happy zone in the middle and make the best of both.
Exactly. Cody Lamp, with no OTA or preseason, do you see players and teams dealing with injuries? Yes, there's going to be more soft tissues, hamstring pulls, Achilles, quad strains, that kind of thing. It's going to take them a while, but by week 4, they should be back into where they usually are come week 1, and we'll move forward. Info Apocalypse, Logan Ryan just asked for the to be treated as a safety. I think that makes him more attractive in that he can play 2 positions. I just don't know if that helps him enough to get on the roster. Oh, wow, we're behind. We're going to start going faster, folks. I promise. And I will stop talking so much as soon as I find the next question. Pono, how are you, bud? Hope it's nice out there. I know that storm hit you guys pretty good. My buddy out on Oahu had a fun time. So I hope you're safe and you're doing well. Lucas opting out was a bummer. I'm with you. Didn't think a rookie signing would do that, but it's understandable, I guess. My thoughts, I think Lucas Niang seems like a kind of an introverted, like thinker type guy, like a classic offensive lineman. And clearly, whatever it wasn't like super high risk because he came into camp and he got in the program. Something at that point bothered him, or somebody else maybe in his family got exposed or something like that. So I think it's a shame, but I think it's justifiable. I think he'll be fine in the long term.
Yeah, Nate Taylor said that it was a family issue.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I had not seen that. Gary, what's up, buddy? Will the Chiefs go after any free agents? I don't think there's anybody that stands out right now. That said, I think you're going to see some cuts. I think there's going to be more veterans that get cut this season, knowing they have to get down to 175 next year. So that might open some opportunity. Yeah?
I agree with that, yeah.
Spicy, are there any good old linemen left? You mean on the free agent market? I don't know,
Not
Dan.
I know of.
I was going to say, nothing comes to mind.
They snatched up assembly real quick.
Yeah. It was like, oh, hey, we need you. You're here now. Adam Daughtry, hope you're doing well. So if you have the ball, who would you least want to get tackled by, past and present?
Ray Lewis.
Ray doesn't scare me.
He should scare you.
No.
Prime Ray Lewis doesn't scare you?
Not tackling me. I mean, if I'm trying to go out to a club with him, yeah, I'm pretty nervous. But, I don't want to get hit by Richard Dent. I don't want to get hit by Charles Haley. I don't want to get hit by Dan Hampton. Those are the guys off the top of my head. But, yeah, I'll take a linebacker at 250, 255. I can live with that.
Okay.
Whew. But I get for your generation, it's Ray. That's great. What happened to BJ Kissel? Nothing. BJ got an opportunity to go do media that isn't just football. He is going to be doing football, is my understanding.
Yeah.
He went with Let It Fly, which is where Billy Quach is at and where Tom Martin's at. I don't know how that company started off the top of my head, but they have a lot of KC-oriented talent that will be in front of the camera.
It popped up out of nowhere.
I know, right?
I mean, honestly, they do some great work. I watched the PGA Championship over the weekend. They covered that. It was phenomenal work that they're doing. So obviously, this is a chance for him to do something he's really passionate about and cover multiple sports. So yeah, I've got no issues with you wanting to do what you want to do.
Yeah, and BJ is a football guy.
Yeah,
he is great at football, so I don't see him going away from there. But I do, from his title, I believe it's creative director, that he's going to have a little more leeway to come up with what he's doing rather than fitting in what is, a state-run organization with the Chiefs. So I think it's about creativity, to tell you the truth. Big Test, how are you? What does a breakout season look like for McCole Hardman? For me, it's 8+ touchdowns and 800 yards. I don't know about you, Dan.
Yeah, I'm actually doing my wide receiver breakdown right now. I was running it today, and it's not looking too good from a breakout standpoint. I'll just tell you that.
Because of targets, or you mean like the breakout won't mean like what it does for other teams?
I don't see him getting the volume necessary to break out. So I've seen that I'll just throw this to you guys. Last year when Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill were both on the field, and with McCole Hardman, he had 18 targets the whole season. And that's with games that Tyreek played 12 snaps and 7 snaps. In both games he got hurt. So there's just something to be said for that. Andy Reid likes to use 2 tight end sets, and now Ricky Seals-Jones gives them more of an option to do that with more athletic tight ends on the field. I just don't see the volume there for a true breakout season unless someone gets hurt.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's fair. I think the whole thing might creep up, though. Defenses I think they're going to have an advantage early, but I think long term they're going to be in trouble a little bit. But hey, Aaron Morrow made it. What's up, buddy? I hadn't seen you chime in before. Maybe I missed it, but I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Daniel Riddick, good to see you. Do you think Elijah Lipscomb can move up the depth chart and challenge Pringle? I don't. Pringle's number 4. I think Pringle might be able to leap Robinson. We're going to have to see. But I do think that Kalijah can push for the roster, and I think Derek Jeter should be very worried about him.
Hope so.
Knock on wood. We'll see. Nothing against Jeter. I think he's a good dude. He seems like a good teammate and a good dad, but he's not the athlete that fits in the rest of this particular wide receiver group. So nothing against him.
No, I got nothing on with him. He's just not a very good football player.
And if you're the 6th wide receiver, you got to play special teams, and I'm waiting on that. Michael, hope you're doing well. Would it be best of our best interest to try and make AB an offer? No.
Just don't even mention AB.
No. I see your point about keeping him from other playoff contenders, but no, the guy is
nuts.
Dude, he's a Looney Tune. The guy needs help. I'm sorry, he is. He's retired 4 times.
We should all be giving Mike Tomlin a medal. He should get a medal.
Yeah. Easy. Will Patrick get his arm strength competition with Josh Allen? I'm not sure. They said somebody told me they were trying to put it together. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, though. They're into season prep now. It's going to be hard. Do you think Willie Gay will be a starter at MLB? No, I think he'll be and he will be one of the 2 nickel backers when they go big nickel. But do you see anything different, Dan?
Not until next year. Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2020 here.
Yeah.
Yes, Rashid. What are the odds that Jordan Thomas ends up in a long-term backup for the Chiefs? His play style is very similar without the arm level of Mahomes. You have a good point. He moves well. Andy likes him. And quite frankly, Andy puts a lot of credit into what you do on the field. And the fact that he played in the XFL doesn't matter what the league is or what you thought of the league. The fact that he went out there and performed. Nothing against Chad Henne. Chad Henne's a smart quarterback. I like Matt Moore. Matt Moore proved that he could play last year. Yeah. So I would like to see Moore and Tomo be the 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen, though.
R.I.P. Shea Patterson.
Yeah. Or not.
That's why I said R.I.P.
I know. Nathan Roth, how are you? What do you think will happen to college football? And if it's canceled, what will the draft look like? The draft will be late. Although I did read today, I think it was Cole Jory that put it out there. Cole Jory. Sorry, Joel. I think he put it out there. It's in the CBA that the draft has to happen before June 2nd.
Yeah.
That's going to have to get a waiver. I think they will give that. If college does play in the spring, I think they're going to have to postpone. I don't know what that looks like, though, when you in terms of trying to get camp to start on time.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. But quite frankly, I don't know what college football is going to do. I don't even look at college football until December or January. It is whatever it is. The NFL will adjust. And I'll tell you, in the meantime, you're going to get NFL football at least 4 days a week if they do cancel. I don't think that's a terrible thing.
Helps revenue.
Could be worse. Logan Ryan is in our grasp with extra money from Okafor structure. Do we pull the deal? I don't think they pull it in turn. I think they pull the offer sheet if they ever put one out. I don't think they do that. It would have to be cheap. Maybe it is, but I kind of think no. You disagree, Dan?
No, I like I said, it would only be if they can get him cheap, and I don't even, like I said, who knows what they want for him, and I just don't know if they're going to want to bring anybody else in at this point, unless we still don't know what's happening with Breland. We have no clue.
Yeah. Norman, I appreciate you bringing this up. This is sad for me, and Dan and I are two of the only analysts I've seen that were pretty pumped for him, and I hope that Aaron Rodgers makes him into everything that I think that he
Let
can
him
be.
play wide receiver.
I mean, he can line up out there. He can line up in the short slot. He can line up behind the line of scrimmage.
They just want to run 4 tight ends, apparently.
Yeah, and hey, I'm okay with that. I think there's a niche that he can carve out for himself. I hope that he does. But good point, Norman. Hey, Hot and Spicy, thanks for noticing. I appreciate that. We are about to hit 14,000. Thanks to you guys spreading the word. We are growing, and we're going to keep that up. I owe it all to you guys, and obviously to Dan for helping me out. Dan is the first person that has become a regular on this channel. We're going to add some other voices to balance us because we're pretty serious all the damn time. But
I'm trying to liven it up a little bit. I really am. It's just this is still a little new for me. So getting comfortable with everybody, I try to throw in some funny things. I try to laugh a little bit more. So I do apologize for my uptightedness with you all, but it's not you. It's all me. It's right in here. It's just this doesn't work.
Are we breaking up right now? Stop.
No.
Oh my God. It's not you, it's me.
I promise you we're not breaking up.
Gary, who's winning the punting job? It's over, bro. Tommy won. I didn't notice this at first either, so no big deal. Your punter is Tommy Townsend. They're not even going to bring in another guy as far as I understand. So
who cares?
Yeah, hey, for all 6 of those kicks this year, I'm not too worried about it. Michael, it seems like I was asking you kicking tires on Jalen Ramsey since he hasn't extended yet, but do we make an offer since he has no again? Jalen Ramsey is the Antonio Brown of defense as far as I'm concerned.
He's not that bad, but I get what you're going for.
And this is a balanced thing. They have their defensive leaders. They like them. They don't want to change them. They don't want to bring in a voice that doesn't. Jalen Ramsey. How do I put this in a way that doesn't get YouTube to ban me? Jalen Ramsey is not a team first guy. Jalen Ramsey is a Jalen first guy, and that doesn't work here. And I'm glad for that.
Yep.
That's about as nice as I could put it. Donnie, thank you for the contribution. I appreciate it. Could Dylan Moses fall to us in the draft? I don't know.
He's a top 15 player. He's not going to fall to us in the draft.
See, Dan does all the work early. I haven't even No, not worried, Doctor Who. It's exactly what you said. I think they're going to be scoring so much it's not really going to have an impact. Should the Chiefs pursue Everson Griffin?
Kick the tires, maybe, depending on what you're going to do. But, I mean, they have a pretty set defensive end position. If he's going to come in for like a $2-3 million contract, throw him a bone.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. That's what I was saying. Like, I don't think he would do that.
Yeah.
Predict Mahomes yards, TDs, yards, and ints. I'm guessing you want passing yards and running yards. I'm going to go 5,200 in the air. No, I lied. I'm going to go 4,800. He's under 5. But I am going to say he's going to hit 45 touchdowns. Passing, I think he's going to hit 300 rushing and 7 interceptions.
Yeah, I've got him. I'm pretty sure I've got him projected at about 5,600 yards in the air with 45 touchdowns and 10, 12 interceptions. And then he's probably going to put another 250, 300 yards on the ground. That's just, he's got that down now, so he's going to start using it a bit more.
Yeah, now he feels like, oh, I'll just hurt you this way. And I love to see that.
Yeah.
Come playoff time, who are the best 4 corners? Come playoffs.
Corners or secondary? Because it's very...
Well, he said CBs,
corner.
so I'm going to say CBs.
Okay.
Because teams will likely try to spread them out at some point. So, Breland, Ward, Fenton, Snead is my pick.
Yeah, I'll go with that. That's exactly how I would list it right now, actually.
Okay. Well, hey, you might be right. Although I would probably throw Matthew into the slot and worry about the safeties a little bit.
Exactly. That was my whole thing about different players playing different positions.
There's always something. Drew Stevens, how are you? Or Steffens? I hope I said it right. With a fully healthy Frank Clark for a full season, how many sacks do you realistically seeing him get? Here's the big thing, is not only is he healthy, but Chris is healthy. So I'm going to say 11. I don't know about you.
See, I've got them both getting 15.
Oh, do you really?
I got them getting 30.
Good Lord.
That's more of a hot take thing for me, but Frank can get 15.
Oh, it's hot in this hot tub. Yeah. How many INTs for Badger this year? I'm calling 7 from Oregon Chris. That's about the number that I was going to go, but he was really specific. He's mentioned 3 times this offseason that he dropped 8. So I'm going to say 8.
I'm going to go 10.
Okay. Dan with all the hot takes.
Has to be over.
Oh, crap. We're falling farther and farther behind. All right, folks, we're going to go quick. James Reed, did they win 12 games? Yes. Okay. Casey, do you see the Chiefs bringing in Devontae Freeman? No. Okay, we're together on that one. CEH, FC versus Alabama, squared shoulders, sidesteps, change direction. Yes, you should be impressed, Carlos. I am too. I think he's going to be a perfect fit. Does the shortened season keep the rookie wall from being hit, or do soft tissue injuries instead? Very good question. Man, it's a toss-up. What do you think, Dan?
If they're not going to be in game shape, they don't really know what it is. So I don't know if it's going to affect them in the same way as it would normally. Like it's going to be a different level of competition they've ever faced before. And I think that we're going to see probably a little bit of both.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I have to show this one because it just makes me laugh. Stack, I think that's hilarious. Curtis, I do have the Juan shirt designed. I'm not happy with the shirt provider. They do shirts fine, and I'm going to put all the new shirts out, including the Juan shirt. I have something special for you with an insect. I have something special for you that is going to remind you of something else. The T-shirts will be there. I'm working on building another store for the hats, the cups, all the other stuff that everybody always wants. I want hats. I can't even get my own hat from the store that we have right now. So I'm working on that. It's a little bit farther down than the memberships and everything else. So I will get you those. And yes, there will be gear specifically for members as well. I will get that. I hope before the first game kicks off. Knock on wood. Odds of this actually happening. I'm not sure, Thed, what that means.
Odds of the season actually happening.
Oh, of the season actually happening? Oh yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah. It's just how long will it be? I'm still saying it's going to be 12 games. Will we see more screens, Michael? That's a very good question. I would actually like to, because I want to see the big screen with all the tight ends out there, but I don't think that's the direction they want to go. No. It also requires, especially, that you have guards that can move, and Assembly is not that guy. I think you might see more power rushing inside, which I kind of dig.
I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, I am too. How about some short yardage gains? Let's get those.
Run in, just do inside zone and let them smash it behind Assembly. They're just going to get 5, 6, 7 yards every time.
Absolutely, I'm with you. Tactics, rank them. All day, Jamal and Marshawn. You go first.
Yeah, give me Charles, Marshawn, and then Peterson.
That's all at their prime, not the last year they played, right? Because they all finished pretty much together except for Adrian, right?
Well, Adrian's still playing. He's got the longevity for him. And see, I think that Peterson's a great 1-2 back. Like he's probably the most prolific first and second down running back in ever. He's a freak of nature. I still think that Marshawn can do a little bit more in the pass game. And just that run he had against the Saints when they were 7-9, it always sticks in my head. It always will. And there's just something to be said for that.
When you take into account games missed because of injury, that's the only thing that makes Jamal not the top in my book. I would go Marshawn, Jamal, Adrian.
I get it.
That's just me. Drago, defense Newberg is intercept, make it hard for offenses to keep up the ball. Yes, absolutely. They were specific. Spags and all the DBs are specific about getting their hands on more passes. Who's the next man up with Niang out? It's going to be Wiley to start with. We'll see what happens. Do your memberships for international fans from down under? Alan, anybody can be a member no matter where you live. And yeah, I appreciate that. We have a lot of folks that are in Germany, a lot of guys that are deployed that we do have a little bit of a swell right there. And so everybody internationally, you can still get the same thing. I know the times aren't great for the streams, but we'll see what we can do with that. Adam, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, folks, if you hit the thumbs up, that always helps us. It makes YouTube recognize that you guys dig what we're doing. So that always helps. Super Devil Juice. I like that name.
I didn't mean we were breaking up, I promise.
No, we're not. We're okay. What are your thoughts about the first draft pick next year? I got to see what happens, but without a major signing that's going to stay here, I'm still looking at cornerback. I still want more talent.
They don't care.
I know they don't, but I do.
They'll probably go interior.
He asked what I think. Okay?
That's fine. And you can think that all you want to.
Thanks, buddy.
Brett Veach does not care.
No, Veach does not agree with me at all. Young boy, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Think Chiefs should try to trade Watkins for Odell? No. Odell is not AB. But Odell is still more about Odell than he is about his team.
And why would the Browns do that?
Yeah, there's no way they'd let him go. He can ask all he wants. He can run down the sidelines and say to the Atlanta Falcons, come get me. He ain't going.
No.
Not going to happen. Yeah. And honestly, I do like Stefanski, and I do like where their offense is going to go. And they're going to run those athletic tight ends quite a bit. They're going to run the ball. I think that's going to help OBJ and Jarvis, that I can never remember Mr. Landry's name. Sorry, Jarvis. James, what do you think of the run defense improves and the pass defense gets worse? I don't. You're talking about playing a rookie linebacker that is more athlete than he is tackler in between the tackles, so I would not think that. You?
I'll only disagree in the sense that teams are going to be too far behind. They're going to have to throw up everything. So it's just going to be more production based on opposing offenses instead of them getting worse.
Okay, that's fair. Robert, do you think that the Chiefs should I'm guessing sign a CB with the leftover cap money? That's really the only option.
Yeah.
Everson Griffins is an interesting one that I don't think is going to be cheap enough. He's the only one that I consider in a pass rush situation. Yeah, I mean, but he's the only one I would consider with a pass rusher. So yeah, I would think DB of some kind would be the one. Jeremy Green, do you really see Williams over Washington? Because, sorry, Clyde starts the season as number one without doubt. Jeremy, I disagree with you. And, yeah, I don't think Washington beats out Darrell Williams. He's had exactly 2 practices in the Chiefs offense so far. So I'm not putting DeAndre Washington into a backup role right now. And you may end up being right. Clyde seems to be coming along very fast for what Andy had expected. So I could be wrong, but I just think at the end of the day, it may be let Darrell start and ease him into it. I'm not saying that will stay that way. I would expect by week 4, maybe a quarter of the season, and then Clyde's in there at the starter if it were me. Who else has stuff? What were your thoughts on Mahomes throwing balls to Dez? If there any interest, would you approve? I think that was a circumstance of
where they
proximity. Yeah, they happen to be there. I respect Dez for what he did. He's never been the kind of receiver that the Chiefs want. That's what Dwayne Bowe was. This is not what they want to do. They don't want to throw it up. They don't want to muscle a guy. They don't want the super big, tall wingspan guys. They want speed.
So upsetting. Chris Thomas would have been so good.
Aaron Geckley, is Seth no longer a contributor? Seth was on the Locked On Chiefs with us. He has not been a contributor to RGR. If I could talk him into it, we will. I promise you guys. But no, Seth has been on the Locked On Chiefs with us. He was a co-host for a while. Then he got the big podcast on The Athletic, and I hope you guys check that out because they do a great job over there. And sometimes they even talk football. But sorry, Josh. But no, Seth's got his own gig going right now. His Substack, you guys go check that out. He does great work. And now he's writing for himself as well as The Athletic. And if he was more of a media guy, maybe we could talk him into it. We'll see. It's a great idea, and I think I'll run with it, Aaron. Let's see. Do you see Hitchens getting contract restructure so we can get him out of the next year cheap? I don't, actually. I think they're going to bite the bullet. They're going to let him play this, and they're going to jettison.
Yep.
Okay. Where are the Locked On podcasts now? They're everywhere. We're still on iTunes and Google Podcasts. Not iTunes. Sorry, Apple Podcasts. Yeah, I'm old. It is what it is. Yeah, we're still everywhere. It's still Chris Clark and I. That's not changing. We're still rolling with that 5 days a week, so you guys can always get that. But this is a different thing. So that's why Dan comes on here with me, and we do something a little bit different. Okay, got your question, Nathan. I keep hitting the same question. Sorry, you guys. How are they looking in camp? Who's standing out? They've only practiced, and we haven't seen any of it. There's only 3 slots. I'm sorry, there's 5 slots, but there's only expected to be 1 camera and 2 reporters and 2 columnists supposedly at practice. We're not going to see as much. So you guys will probably see more on the local news than I will see out here. So you guys let me know. Let's see. Claude, you had something here. The majority of CFB is on the cusp of not playing. What prospects do you hope flying under the radar for Veach to grab next year? I would love to see that linebacker from Penn State fall, but I don't think he's going to make it in the 30s. He's a top 20 pick.
Top 5 player, I think.
Oh, you think he's a top 5? Okay.
He's definitely going top 10. But if he falls, yeah, he's one of the best players in the draft.
Okay. I was going to say he looked like a top 20 guy. I didn't realize he was that high. So, Nathan, yeah, we talked about that one. I don't think so, but you never know. So the Chiefs extend Ward this year. Danny, we hit that earlier. You might have missed it. We don't think so. Make him earn it a little bit more. We want to see him continue to progress because if you pay him now and he plateaus, you're stuck. So we want to see him develop a little bit farther. I still think that he could be a low-end number 1. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy where you say, I can't throw to that side of the field because Travaris is over there. But I do think that he can take away the bulk of what you do on one side of the field.
That's all you're going to ask for him.
Okay.
If he was ever going to be able to turn into that, he would have not been undrafted, in my opinion.
I'm with you, yeah. I mean, and that's not to say that people can't progress or change what they are from being drafted, but some of that goes into it. He is a late bloomer. You never know 100%, but it runs that way. Does run defense improve past? Yeah, okay, we answered you. Sorry, James. I'm a little bit behind. We're going to finish up these last couple. Devil Juice, do you think they were going to – who do you think is going to be the first player cut to get the Chiefs interested in? Around the league. Okay, we'll wrap up on this one. Around the league, who do you think that could get cut that the Chiefs might pick up?
I have no idea. I don't know enough about players in the NFL. I mean, the only thing that would be interesting would be a starting level center, I think. But even then, Ryder's been in the system. This is going on his 3rd year. I don't see anybody that's going to get cut that they just want to be like, hey, guess what? We're gonna come get you.
Yeah,
unless it's a corner.
That's where I'm at. You know, there could be a cut somewhere for that, but right now, everybody wants to stick with what they know and who they know. And I just don't
think offseason the way it was just so weird that you don't have to reteach somebody a different defense.
Chris Hennings, no worries, man. I appreciate that you're here and you're still watching. That's great. Casey, I think the money's got to be on the Ravens. If the Chiefs are going to lose early, it's going to be them. I actually don't think it's going to happen, though.
Nope.
And that's where we're going to wrap, folks. That seems to be it. I appreciate everything that you guys have done. Thank you, Dan, for being here tonight and saying hello to everybody.
Thanks.
Remember, memberships are coming. You'll get a little bit behind the scenes, kind of an after-hours show from us, which will be a little bit more frank and not quite as professional, probably.
That'll be fun.
It'll just be a warning, but we're going to keep doing this 4 or 5 days a week, no matter what, plus the podcast. Dan's film is coming. I'll have the rumors and the whatnot. And I'll tell you what the players are giving away in the press conferences that you don't quite realize until you see it. So thanks for watching tonight. You guys have a great week. We'll have more for you tomorrow night, and we'll catch up with you next week on Monday. Take care.